As a consumer, you might not recognize the name Eaton Corporation, but this huge industrial B2B company touches your life in many ways. Eaton's engine valves and torque converters are in your automobiles. They're in the transmissions of large trucks. They're also in the airplane hydraulic systems of many aircraft. In your home, you'll find Eaton's products in the circuit breaker box. And they even help to provide uninterrupted power supplies to our personal computers. They supply electrics for office buildings and factories around the world. Eaton Corporation is a $9 billion diversified industrial company, a business that touches consumers through its customers.
If you see Eaton's name next to a product, you can be sure that it's trusted, it's reliable, it's quality, and it's of high value. So we want Eaton to be a brand that really enhances other products that we sell.
The company has 4 main operating units. The electrical group is Eaton's largest segment, followed by fluid power, automotive, and the truck segment. Together, Eaton sells tens of thousands of products to hundreds of parties around the world. So how does this enormous company carry out its marketing initiatives? In the B2B environment, it's a complicated, layered approach, which begins with segmenting each player.
Understand the markets, the applications, understand the customers, understand what it means for our customers to win, understand how our competitors are in the marketplace, understand regulation and legislation associated with those opportunities. Again, so we're bringing the best solutions to our customers that we possibly can.
In business-to-business selling, the dynamics are different, as savvy customers can present considerable challenges.
There is a lot of action there, but there is every bit as much or more action in marketing B2B. You're marketing to very sophisticated, discriminating customers. You tend to market to customers who have a tremendous access to data about what you're doing and about what competitors are doing. And as a result, it takes the very best in terms of professional marketing talent to do well in business B2B type marketing.
And there's more. Marketing is viewed somewhat as a partnership, with each party exchanging ideas and information to help bring products and solutions to market.
Often I think our customers in our space, they're not as expert as we are in that space. And so they kind of know what's needed. We know what's possible, and the whole market, art of the market research is to try to find that intersection. And we can't expect that to all come from them because they only have half the equation.
A big difference between consumer marketing and industrial B2B marketing is the level of the customer.
The biggest role often are on the part of engineers who are designing things, operations people who are running things, general managers who are very focused on the broader array, kind of the broader scope of value that can be added, not the specifics of any individual piece of equipment and the specs of it.
In these sales, a lot more influencers are involved. So to be successful, they must understand both inside and outside the company who is going to play a role in making a buying decision. With so many layers involved in the sales process, Eaton's approach is to try and map the decision maker and understand the needs of every person involved, keeping in mind that their customer's success in some cases relies heavily on Eaton's ability to understand and deliver consistent products.
The way we think we need to try to win is by thinking from the end of the spectrum and saying, well, what does that end customer need? And to service their need, what does the contractor would have to do? And to think about what a contractor has to do, what does a distributor have to do to support them? So we have to think our way from the market back.
Most of the time, winning a sale is not based on price. It's earned from the deep understanding that Eaton has of its customers' needs.
When we market to them, we also have to understand what makes them successful. What are the drivers their customers have? What is their competition doing? So that when we market to them, when we bring products to them, again, it helps them gain a competitive advantage.
And that's why building trust and confidence with customers that things will go well or will be fixed quickly if they do not is critical.
Probably the best thing we can do is to make a mistake. And I say that because with most of the kinds of customers we service, things inevitably will happen. Whether something gets engineered wrong, something doesn't show up on time, it's part of the way to construction industry has historically worked. And what those customers really look for is, when things go wrong, how well do you respond?
And that's where personal relationships come in, another strong component of the sales process.
So often those problems turn into major opportunities where people know that you can bail them out of a particular issue that they've got, and that memory stays in place for a long time. And so those types of business-to-business relationships, I still believe people buy from people they want to buy from. You've got to be competitive, but if you've got the right kind of people at the point of your spear, your organization is going to be very, very successful.
So how does Eaton approach pricing? Today the focus is not so much on cost as it is on value-based pricing.
We constantly try to find different ways to deliver the value proposition, and when you have a highly sophisticated customer, you can't have the same product 3 years in a row. It's got to be constantly changing, and we're trying to evolve it not just on a technical basis, but to understand their business issue as well or better than they do, and then how can we bring some unique value around it.
It's a strategy Eaton says allows them to become more competitive and more profitable.
Today, what we look at is the product has these attributes, the product has this value. Forget about the cost. What's the value in the marketplace? What's the competitive situation in the marketplace? And price it that way.
As the world has moved forward, marketing in the B2B environment has become more complex. Customers demand good pricing, on-time delivery, and good quality. Those factors are the prerequisites to entry. But companies always have to find new ways to make their products and services stand out.
The challenge now is, what can I do that's different? How can I really differentiate myself, and how can I do that on a much more rapid cycle? So 15 years ago, I could come up with a product innovation, and that would give me advantage for 10 years. Now I come up with a product innovation that gives me advantage for 18 months. What I need to do now is I need to go beyond the product and figure out how am I going to really solve things for that end customer.
Solving problems for the end customer is at the heart of Eaton's value proposition. Eaton sells to a variety of channels and through the years has moved from more of a component provider to a solutions provider, enabling them to target more channels.
Channels tend to be multi-level. We drive both pull and push marketing. We'll do the same things in the same market, so we're not all push or all pull. And as you work 2 and 3 layers of channels that may overlap one another, again, a great opportunity to create value.
But there are other elements of channel management that require careful consideration.
Channel management is very much a blend of art and science. You can do all the numbers and figure out what's economically best for this kind of transaction for that kind of customer, and that's a bedrock you have to have. But then you also have to understand the likely reactions of different channel partners to actions you might take, and to really kind of manage the emotional side and manage the interpersonal side of that. And so it really is a very delicate balancing act that you go through as you try to think about managing a multi-channel network.
The sheer number of channels today has enabled Eaton to have direct business with customers, but it has also complicated the management of it all.
A customer may be touched one day by your salesperson, the next day by a partner salesperson, a third day they're going to want to kind of deal with you on the web, and you got to figure out how to manage that whole set of interactions.
And that's where Eaton's strong brand equity comes in, delivering continued integrity and value to its customers regardless of the audience they're targeting.
What we're trying to do is figure out what's the target message to each audience, and it's distinct because they want different things, but there's got to be something that underlies all of it that's what Eaton's all about, because we can't have inconsistent messages. We can have targeted messages that are different for different audiences, but threading through all of it, there's got to be something about what Eaton is and what Eaton stands for in the market.
Eaton says delivering on the brand in the future will require a continued strong emphasis on marketing, not as a standalone function, but rather an integrated approach, part of the Eaton business system.
We are continuing to invest heavily in marketing because we think that's one of the areas we can continue to take a company that was historically very good at manufacturing, very good at product engineering, and hook to it a really progressive and effective front end, and that'll make a great corporation.
That so-called front end is working well for Eaton as the company continues to acquire new assets and more brands move over to an Eaton master brand. For the Pearson Video Library, I'm Pat Laurie. just a given when you're in the market for a new car or when you hit the mall in search of a trendy pair of jeans. Exciting shopping encounters that can make for an emotional buying experience. The same type of experience that the folks at General Electric say occurs when consumers are in the market for their next refrigerator or dishwasher. But can shopping for an appliance really have that much of an emotional impact on consumers? You bet. In fact, GE is banking on it. To understand this pricing story, you have to go back several years ago when GE's appliance business was at a crossroads. Pricing had been declining for some time, but rather than accept the trend, the business decided to make a major investment in new product innovation and comprehensive brand positioning.
Consumers are willing to step up and buy higher end products, to spend more for appliances. If you can appeal to their aspirations, if you can appeal to them on a more emotional level, if you can offer them innovation that's different from what they've had before.
Shopping for a new fridge is not like it used to be. In the past, you'd buy a replacement when the old one broke down. Now more and more consumers are ditching their perfectly working appliances for more trendy upscale versions. And instead of buying just one appliance, they're redesigning the entire kitchen. And that brings us to the story of GE's Profile and Monogram brands, the company's upscale appliance lines. Two brands that were reinvented and are doing well today.
The best thing that we ever did as a business 8-10 years ago was to make a major commitment to new product investment, and we have significantly increased the amount of money we're spending on new products, and as a result we've turned around our pricing performance. We've been able to buck the trend that historically has plagued this industry.
It's a move that paid off big time for GE. At the time, appliance sales in the Profile and Monogram lines were in a decade-long slump. The company's product portfolio lacked differentiation. Its brand positioning was virtually indistinguishable. GE's Monogram and Profile lines were headed for a huge overhaul. With a red-hot real estate market and no shortage of consumers tapping into their home equity, GE's Monogram and Profile lines were poised to appeal to more affluent homeowners.
These brands have evolved over time. Monogram started as a relatively narrow offering, primarily of refrigerators aimed at that very high end of the market. Over time, we realized the opportunity that existed with a more full-line package of products at that high end of the marketplace. And so we've built out the product offering in those categories to include cooking products and dishwashers and the full suite.
New styling, innovative features, and quality that would allow the company to position these brands at the higher end of the market, moving upstream in price.
The most important factor in success in realizing more value and realizing better pricing for our product is product.
In other words, if you've got a better product, you have a better chance at setting your prices higher. That's why GE allocates significant resources to research and new product development.
GE is a highly respected company. It's a brand that everybody knows. It's a brand that's been around for